Now, moving on to best practices. So here are some of my important tips and tricks. Make sure when you take all your payments from your customers that you put them in undeposited funds, or it might be called payments to deposit, and that's because the bank feed looks there to find the transactions. Don't put it straight to your checking account, and my customers will get this wrong. So, and sometimes people will say, I put the checks that I deposited with my phone straight to the checking account, and I put everything else in undeposited funds. Be consistent because the field is sticky. So if you did it once and then you forget to look at it on the next one, you could be putting things in multiple places. When I'm doing duplicate revenue cleanups, this is one of the reasons why. So everything goes to undeposited funds or payments to deposit. I also mentioned payees are not optional. Do not leave the vendor name blank. If you have to put in a generic one, go ahead, but don't leave them blank. Especially if it's an expense that needs to get 1099, because then you don't have anybody to 1099. Okay. We also talked about generic payees to reduce your clutter, and that the bank detail travels with the transaction. And if you turn on copy bank detail to memo, then it's all right there. And especially with restaurants, for your meals and entertainment, you do still need to type in who you ate with and what you talked about so that you have that backup for if you're audited. Okay, now PayPal does have its own PEBCAC. Again, PEBCAC is problem exists between chair and keyboard. And that is that if you have PayPal, a lot of the time your PayPal's transferring money out to your checking account for deposits or expenses from your credit card, like it's getting money from your credit card. And the big problem that I see is that people will categorize the expense twice in PayPal and in the credit card or in the bank account. You have to make sure that the transfers to PayPal are transfers. So anything touching a credit card or a checking account is nothing ever but a transfer to in or out of PayPal. And then in PayPal, it's a bank. So PayPal is where you categorize your expenses and your income inside PayPal as a bank account. And then you transfer the money to your checking account or use your credit card as the funding source and make transfers. So super important. I spent a lot of time cleaning this up too. All right. Another cool feature is that a lot of people don't realize that your bank register does have the ability to filter. And so this has nothing to do with the banking feed, but it's helpful that you can go into any register and you can filter it for the amount or the reference number or the memo. You can even find transactions that have no status to find everything that hasn't been reconciled. When you search for no status, you know that it has not hit the banking feed, because you see over here on this column right here, this one came in from the banking feed, so it has a green box on it. That's how you know what came in. And if it has no status, like these right here, then it didn't hit the banking feed. It's probably a duplicate, or it's a transaction that maybe it's a check that never got cashed. So filtering the banking feed for status can be very helpful in working and diagnosing the bank feeds. Okay. Also, already talked about this, strategic transfers. Transfers can move money between any balance sheet accounts, but if it's a credit card, there's actually a credit card payment type under plus new, pay down credit card, and then use that one. But you can use transfers for any movement between money. The problem with using a transfer, though, is that you don't get all the detail. All you get is the from and the to account. You don't have any classes or locations or customers or anything with it. So I tend not to use transfers except if it's specifically, literally, I'm at the bank and I'm moving money from a checking to savings account. That's the only time I use them now. And then we've also seen the job costing and billing for expenses. You can assign all your expenses to a customer for job costing, so that way you can see your profitability by customer. And if you mark it as billable, it prepares it and gets it ready to be passed on to the customer for reimbursement through an invoice. If you are interested in knowing more about that, then that's in my projects and job costing class.